Hello everybody, it is MischiefWoW, once again bringing you some more class guides. We're going to be looking at the Protection Warrior tank. As I mentioned in my Fury Warrior guide, this warrior is extremely noobly geared. I have lots of blues and low item level stuff, so don't expect any high numbers from this character. So I guess we'll look at your talents. Insight, you could take it if you want. It's not that great. It's just a little bit of extra DPS, and with the threat changes you should be able to hold threat just fine, so don't bother taking that, I think. Toughness is more armor, so it's good, take that. Blood and Thunder is a pretty good talent. When you thunderclap, if one target is affected by rend, everyone will get rend on them, and the target that had rend on it will have it like refreshed, so that's good. Gag Order, this is good for pulling mobs because your heroic throw will silence them. So like casters, it'll pull them to you, and it's going to reduce the cooldown on heroic throw, which is good threat and damage. Hold the Line is going to increase your critical strike, which is not that great, but critical block chance by 10% after a parry, so that's good. Shield Mastery, your shield block is going to have a lower cooldown, and so will your shield wall, and your shield block will reduce magic damage taken, which is not that great, but the cooldowns is good. Shield Specialization, you gain extra rage when you block an attack, and if you reflect a magic attack with Spell Reflect. Last Stand, I haven't updated my spec, but this shares a cooldown with Rallying Cry. Don't take this talent. I'm telling you right now, it's useless. Concussion Blow, it's good just for tanking trash. They're going to get stunned, so they won't be able to hit you for a while, and it's going to deal damage, so that's, I guess, good for threat. Bastion of Defense reduces the chance to be crit when in defensive stance, and when you block, dodge, or parry, you have a chance to become enraged, and that's good because it's going to proc your enraged regeneration. Warbringer, I really like this talent. You can charge in any stance and in combat. And the kind of useless part is when you intervene, you remove movement impairing effects. Improve Revenge, increase damage on Revenge, good. And it's going to cause a cleave effect, which is good. Devastate is a rotation ability, so take that. Impending Victory is not that great because it's going to only heal you for 5%. It might be 10% with 2 points, but you can only do it when the target is low health, so I wouldn't bother taking that. Vengeance, again, I haven't updated my thing. This is not a great talent. Sorry, Vigilance, not Vengeance. You can take it if you want, but it's not suggested. If you want to get extra points to unlock the extra tier, maybe Insight or Impending Victory, depending on what you prefer. Thunderstruck, good name for talent, but it's going to increase the damage of your Rend, Cleave, and Thunderclap. And your Thunderclap is going to give you a stacking buff that's going to increase the damage of your Shockwave. And using Shockwave will consume this buff. Heavy Repercussions is your shield. When your shield block is active, your shield slam is going to deal double damage. Sword and Board increases the crit of Devastate, and when your Devastate or Revenge deal damage, they have a chance of refreshing the cooldown of your shield slam and making it free for 5 seconds. Shockwave is an amazing AoE attack that's going to stun them, especially for trash because they're all going to get stunned and you're going to have a few seconds to not take any damage and have your healers heal you up. Over in the Arms and Fury tree, Field Dressing is going to increase your healing taken and self-heal taken by an additional amount. War Academy is going to increase the damage of your Devastate and Victory Rush, which is the two that you use for Prot. Blood Craze, after taking damage, you have a chance to regenerate health, so it's good for a tank. And Cruelty increases the crit of your Shield Slam. So, yeah, those are pretty good. Glyphs. You can really tell here that I don't play this character often by the fact that I only have 2 prime glyphs. So you do want to take Shield Slam for the extra damage, and Revenge for also the extra damage. And then Devastate for the extra crit on Devastate. Glyph of Cleaving is actually really good for AoE, and I suggest taking that for AoE. Thunderclap, I guess it's decent, not really important. And you can kind of just take whatever else that you want. Glyph of Shockwave, you could take it. It's not amazing. It still does help, but I do suggest, I guess, taking this talent. And the minor glyphs, again, not really important. Command and battle are decent, so you don't have to keep putting them up. So for buffs, you're going to want to put Battle Shout or Commanding Shout, depending on what you don't have. Commanding Shout is overridden by other Commanding Shouts or Fortitude by Priests. Battle Shout is overridden by Horn of Winter by Death Knights and the Strength of Earth Totem by Shamans. And when I say overridden, it doesn't mean it totally overrides it. You could probably still pop them depending, but you're not going to need it. If you don't have either of those buffs, like if you're by yourself or in a dungeon, it's better to do Commanding Shout, so that's what I will put on my F keybind. And you're always going to want to be in Berserker stance, because that's the best tank stance at the moment. No, what am I kidding? It's defensive stance. If you believe that for a second, you really need this guide. Alright, so for single target, you're going to want to taunt to pull the boss, and then heroic throw. That is if you want to pull them to you, like it's a caster. If you want to go to them, you're probably just going to want to hit charge. It's going to give you extra rage, and if they're stunnable, it'll stun them. So for single target, you're going to want to keep your rend up. Now it's better to refresh it with Thunderclap, with the Blood and Thunder talent, because it's going to deal damage. So after you apply rend, you almost don't need to hit rend again, unless it 100% falls off. Shield Slam when it is up, also during Sword and Board procs. Devastate, you're going to want to have always 3 stacks of it up, and you're also just going to want to hit it because it's good damage if Shield Slam isn't up and your rend is on the target. And then also Heroic Strike if you're above 65 rage. And Sword and Board procs, you're going to hit your Shield Slam. You can hit Concussion Blow for damage. It's only a 30-second cooldown. It's much better if they're stunnable so that you're going to take less damage. You're going to want to hit your shield block because it's only got like a 30-second cooldown as well. I happen to have it macroed into my Devastate. You can macro it into anything. And if you macro it into Shield Slam, it's not going to give you that little gold circly thing around it to indicate it's a proc. It's still going to show up on your main screen, but I just like it so that it has that. Now Revenge, when it procs, you're going to want to use that too. Just because I'm only hitting a dummy, and I'm not taking damage, it's not going to proc, but when it does proc, you're going to want to use it. For AoE, you're going to want to hit Rend, Thunderclap, so it'll spread it to everyone. Cleave, now I have Inner Rage macroed into my Cleave. Actually, it's not there. Here's that macro, and that's also going to cast Shield Block for me. You can pop Inner Rage manually, but that's going to reduce the cooldown of your Cleave. And Heroic Strike, but that's not for AoE. So you're going to Rend, spread your Rend with Thunderclap, Cleave, and you can hit Shockwave once you build up 3 stacks, or just right away if you want. And then you're going to want to spam Cleave and Thunderclap, and then Shockwave when it's up, and, Revenge when it procs too, because that's going to do a little Cleave. But like I said, I'm just hitting a dummy, so it's not going to proc. Now you can use your Battle or Commanding Shout to get extra rage if you're low. Why do I keep hitting my achievements thing? So there's that. If you lose aggro, you can just quickly hit your taunt to get aggro back. Or if it's a bunch of mobs that you need to taunt, you can hit your challenging shout. Now warriors, especially for Prot, have a lot of mobility. You have your charge, you have your heroic leap, you have your Intercept. I don't have anyone in my party, so I can't show Intervene, but that's going to run to a party member. And it's going to intercept their next attack. For cooldowns, you have Enrage, like I mentioned, best for AoE to cleave more often. You have your Enrage Regeneration now, when you can only use it when you have your Bastion of Defense Enrage up and your Berserker Rage up. So if I hit that, and I can hit that, and it's going to regenerate my health. Berserker Rage is going to obviously enable enraged regeneration, and it's going to cause you to get extra rage from damage taken. But I'm not taking any damage, it's just a dummy. Recklessness. Unless there's absolutely 0 damage going out for a part of a fight, you don't want to do this because you're going to get extra damage taken. But there are a few instances when you can hit it because you're not taking any damage at all. Shield Wall, this is your major defensive cooldown. It's pretty good. Shield Block, like I mentioned, you can macro that in, hit it manually. Certain abilities that I kind of just have whenever up because they have a short cooldown, I macro them in. But the rest of my cooldowns I like to pop manually. Retaliation, you're going to counteract melee attacks, so that's good. Rallying Cry, the replacement for Last Stand, which I noobishly took, and once I'm done this video, we'll respec. Is going to grant your party or raid 20% max health for 10 seconds, temporary health. So, it's a good cooldown. You also have Disarm. If the target is disarmable, they'll lose their ranged weapon in main hand, and they just won't be able to hit you for a couple of seconds. And you also have your Spell Reflection, which is going to reflect a spell. Just seeing what time it is. And with your, I believe it is the Shield Specialization, when you reflect a spell, you get 60 rage, which is good. Yeah. Statistics for the Warrior Prot stats, more known as. Primarily, you're going to want Mastery for block. Then you're going to want to even out your parry and dodge underneath that. And then your stamina. And then any kind of DPS talents for threat. It's really the same stat priorities as a Blood DK currently. And actually also a Prot Pally. So that's the same. Not same as a Feral Druid though, tank. That is a different. They don't have parry. And crit helps them and stuff. But I'm getting a little off topic. That is your Protection Warrior Guide. And obviously you need to use a shield or else you might as well be in Berserker stance. But yeah, thank you for watching. I haven't said this in a couple of my videos, but if I made a mistake or missed something, feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe, like, favorite, share. Subscribe to my other channel, Nerd Film Speedballer. And this Arkeely in Trade Chat is trying to take my spot in VH. So I gotta go and try and get that spot with my noob eye level before he or she does. So peace.